productivity, winning strategies, and aligning employer-employee goals. If this sounds like something your business could use more of, then you've come to the right place. The Business Mechanic Show with your host, Vaughn Sigmund. Let Vaughn show you how to develop, improve, and jumpstart your business. So now, please welcome the host of The Business Mechanic, Vaughn Sigmund.
Welcome to the Business Mechanic Show. This is your host, Vaughn Sigmund, co-founder of Results-Driven Leadership. In a fairly short podcast, I want to talk about motivating employees. And I want to state clearly in the beginning something that you may or may not realize, but you, as an individual, cannot motivate someone else. Let that sink in for a minute. That motivation has to come from them. That's an inside job. And if you didn't know it, that is a widely accepted leadership axiom. So, why do so many managers keep trying to motivate people from the outside in? Why do they attempt to manipulate behavior by, say, incentivizing goals with maybe tangible or intangible rewards? Why do they hand out tokens and award badges to drive good behavior, hoping to perpetuate motivation? Why? Because science says you can't motivate someone else. They have to motivate themselves. And as a leader, you need to understand that having a motivated an engaged team is critical for your organization's success, yes. But what is your impact on it? What is your control over it? Let's talk about that. Because you may have tried every trick in the book to motivate your employees. From bonuses to raises to participation trophies. I know you beat your head against the wall sometimes. Many people get frustrated with this. It's a very large club. You've tried every trick in the book. In spite of your best efforts, you've found that some of your employees still remain unmotivated. Maybe some are, but there's still a group of them that fits into this narrative we're talking about today is unmotivated, disengaged employees. And in this podcast, we'll explore, one, why you can't motivate employees, but two, what a leader can do to overcome that motivational challenge. So let's talk first about why you can't motivate employees. The reason you can't motivate them is fairly simple. As I mentioned earlier, motivation comes from within. While you can create an environment that fosters motivation, it's ultimately up to the individual employee to feel motivated. Employees have their unique drivers, their values, their own goals. That all impacts their motivational levels. Now, I'm going to pause for a second. We do this on almost every Business Mechanic podcast. If you want to know what their motivation triggers are, if you want to know more deeply what motivates, inspires, and drives this person, you need to give them a DISC profile. It uncovers all this mystery through science, through facts, through figures, through data. It gives you exactly what you need to know about this individual, both the employees you have now. More importantly, how do I improve my odds of success by hiring people that have a higher propensity to be motivated? How do I do that? DISC profile. You use it as part of your selection process. And I know you've got questions about that. Let's start there. Let's start with those questions. Click on the link in the show notes. Take your own DISC profile, but then, and it'll take you all of 15 minutes. Then you need to talk to one of us and let us go through that with you, because we need to point out the nuances of what that report is saying and what it's not saying. And more importantly, we can give you a brief coaching, instructional opportunity to pull out what you need to do differently, what you need to adapt. More importantly, the perceptions that you likely are creating that is undermining your ability to set the environment in which, when you hire motivated people, stay motivated, because you can demotivate motivated people through your actions, your words, fairness, a lot of other things. We'll talk about that more. So, employees. Many employees feel demotivated due to factors beyond their control. What's the culture they're working in? What's your leadership style? How are you treating them? How do you make them feel in the way you communicate with them? Maybe they have a lack of opportunities or understand what opportunities are there for growth and development. And in these kind of cases, these external motivators like incentives or contests or bonuses, etc., they may provide temporary relief. It might get them to sprint to a goal, but it will not be sustainable. You as a manager, you as a leader must get to the underlying issue. What is creating a culture of demotivation? Because it's you that impacts motivation with your leadership and communication style. But as I've said in many previous podcasts, if you drain the emotional bank account of certain individuals, it's almost impossible to refill it. So you must be aware of your words, your actions, the level of fairness, the perceptions of you by the team that work with you, who are going to make you successful. This team is either going to make you a winner, or they're going to create frustration for you, and you're going to be fighting fires all the time and constantly having to overwork yourself. It's all fixable, friends. And if you spend more time catching them doing it right, as opposed to catching them doing it wrong, or catching them when they're mistakes more frequently than catching them doing it right, you are unwinding the culture of which a motivated person will stay motivated, or keeping your team inspired to work hard for you. You want your team to be more inspired and driven, and it's up to you to create that environment. You can't motivate the individual, but you can create a motivational environment which motivated people will flourish in. So how do you overcome this challenge as a leader? It's essential to recognize you have to create an environment that fosters motivation, fosters growth, fosters development. Everyone is aware where we're going. They're aligned with the goals. They're aligned with the purpose. They're aligned with the mission. They're aligned with the core values of the organization, or your own personal core values. Let me talk about a few strategies that will help you out. And these are all based on the most common mistakes I see where emerging managers or struggling managers, or just managers who are unaware. They just don't know any better. So many managers were put in the position of management with zero or very little formal training on how to be an impactful manager, an effective leader. And I'm going to hit some of the key points real quick. And again, we can help you with all of these. This is what we do at Results-Driven Leadership. So first, set clear expectations. the most fundamental, foundational element of engaging and having a motivational environment is knowing what's expected of me. I know what's expected of me. And that goes way beyond just telling them what to do. It goes way beyond SOPs. Employees are much more likely to feel motivated when they know clearly what's expected of them. And so it's up to you, without taking you through an entire course today on how to set these expectations, which we have. We can teach you how to do this in no uncertain terms, and everybody can do it. You just don't know how. But by learning how to do this, being mindful of this, you can ensure that each employee understands their role, their responsibilities, how it aligns with the goals of the organization, your goals, the team's goals, the organization's goals. When all that's lined up, you're going to achieve much more. And if you believe you're doing it today, and your team is still fairly despondent and disengaged possibly, or there's lots of signs of demotivation, you're missing an element. This is an intricate approach of setting clear expectations. It sounds so simple, hard to do. Second thing, provide growth opportunities. This sounds so easy, but so many employers and so many managers miss this key point of motivation and drive and engagement with their team, is making it clear to them how they can grow, learn and grow within this organization that you manage. And they can. And it doesn't mean they're going to grow to be the CEO or the president or even take your job. How can they get more responsibility? How can they feel more empowered? How can they learn more and be more confident in what they're doing? There may be tactical training, certifications, etc. Delegating to them, giving them more responsibility, that motivates people. Employees are much more likely to feel motivated when they have opportunities for growth and development. I promise you, that's part of the Q12 engagement survey with Gallup. Ensure that each employee has a clear path for advancement. And if you don't know what that is, you need to take some time and figure that out. And if you're not talking about it ever or very much in regular reviews, conversations with your team, you're missing out on creating this motivational environment that you so want. Where do they want to go? Where are they and where do they want to go? And you can be the catalyst to the advancement of where they want to go. And they're going to appreciate that. They're going to work harder for you. Maybe it's a promotion. Maybe it's just more responsibility. They want to feel fulfilled. They want to feel valuable. They want to feel empowered. That's what growth and learning is all about. The third thing, foster a positive workplace culture. Because the culture, the environment that they work in is like a very impactful virus. It can be very positive. It can be very negative. It has a significant impact on the employees, the people they work with, their coworkers, and especially you. How positive is this environment that you are in charge of? And what you need to be aware of and go look in the mirror for is ensuring that your workplace culture fosters collaboration, respect, recognition for a job well done. And back to the DISC, if you're a high D, often a high C on the DISC behavior profile, Collaboration is not something that is a natural approach to you. We've got a whole course on how to collaborate and gain buy-in from your team. That's all part of a positive workplace culture. But you got to know how. And if you don't, let's learn. Respect. If you want to be respected, you have to show respect. If you want them to care, you have to show you care. And once again, as I said earlier, you've got to be more mindful of catching them doing their job right and tell them that you saw it. Catch them doing it right. The next thing, communicate regularly. I'm working with a team that I've been working with for a few months now. I was brought in to get this team aligned and much more productive. They were very dysfunctional. And I've got to tell you, frankly, almost every team that results-driven leadership is hired to come in and work with, this element is there, of these levels of dysfunction. And the core of this dysfunction is almost always in communication, in that these teams may be talking to each other, but they're not using effective communication tools and approaches. May not be enough frequency. There may not be enough of the proper dialogue going on during the course of their interactions. More importantly, when it comes to your team members, how often are you communicating with them? I think I can safely say every or almost every organization that I've gotten involved with, we create a daily 5-minute stand-up meeting, a huddle, a meeting, a stand-up. It's 5 minutes so that the team is getting communication from you and each other every single day. 5 minutes. And once people get into the rhythm of doing that, they quickly see the benefit of daily communication. Start the day, many in the day, with a 5-minute huddle to recap the day. Talk about the wins. This gives you opportunities for recognition, gives you opportunities to make sure they understand what the priorities are, and so that they know exactly what's expected of them. They get the opportunity to talk with each other, to let other departments maybe know what's going on, why their workload may be spiking today. Communication. Regular communication absolutely helps you understand what motivates them by you being a participant and a listener of this. And it also gives you the ability to understand how you can help them achieve their goals. Because when they start expressing it, you're getting an education. So please ensure that you provide regular feedback, regular recognition, but regular communication. Again, I'm a huge proponent of a monthly performance review. It's 30 minutes, but they're getting that feedback. They want that feedback, but it has to be regular. It could be daily, it could be weekly, no more than monthly. Again, if you don't know how to do it, we can teach you. So moving on, you as a leader, it's essential to recognize, once again, it's the third time I've said it, you're absolutely scientifically unable to motivate an employee. Instead, your role is create the environment that fosters motivation, fosters growth, fosters development, fosters engagement. You're the high-level individual who has to create this environment. So by setting clear expectations, providing growth opportunities, fostering a positive, respectable, friendly workplace culture, communicating regularly, Those things, those elements are the core elements to creating an environment that encourages employees to feel motivated and engaged. Again, remember, motivation comes from within, including with you. And as a leader, you have the power to create the environment that will get the most out of your team. Because very often you're having to resort to a command and control or a short-term carrot and stick approach to try to motivate and drive people. And man, is that tiring. And when you run out of the carrots and the sticks, or your people get tired of them, why resort to the stick? Why apply pressure? If you're having to resort to command and control, why instill fear, make threats, ultimatums, often without even realizing you're doing it? It's coming out because of your stress and frustration. And if you can relate to any of those statements or solutions I previously mentioned, you're not alone. Leaders often whisper the truth of their experiences to me. And they know what they're doing is ineffective. They know their current tactics are just not working. But as I was alluding to earlier, I've seen teams gel, come together, begin fostering a level of and respect just by following those four things I talked about earlier. So let me propose two more answers for why you might continue relying on the same tactics. Why are you going to keep living in your current level of ineffectiveness? Why do you keep doing that? One, yeah, you're in a pickle. You're under pressure. You're under timelines. You don't have time to change. I'll give you an example. Many of you can relate to this. Have you ever given in to a child's public tantrum? Just giving them the candy bar, bought them the toy, giving them what they wanted just to make them quiet. Even if it was against your parental rules or your values. We've all been there. But we were desperate to shut this kid up because we wanted to avoid the humiliation of a public meltdown. Similarly, the pressure to hold employees accountable, and that pressure generally comes from above, your boss. Maybe it comes to financial reasons. Maybe it's under business reasons or lack thereof. But that pressure to hold people accountable will lead you to desperate mentalities. And that desperate mentality to get it fixed quickly almost always results in these traditional tactics of rewards and threats. Let's just run a contest. But let's face it, these external and imposed motivational approaches are short-lived. You can sprint to a success. You will not marathon to a success. It's unsustainable because it's an inferior form of motivation. So I ask you, why do you keep using them? Well, here's your sign. Desperation. Don't play the short game. This whole podcast today is about you changing your mindset to playing the long game. And yes, it's difficult. Yes, you need a coach or a trainer to help you figure out how to make that work for you. You must rid yourself of this desperation in this short-term game that you're playing, which many play. I'd say better than 80% of managers and leaders are forced into primarily or very often playing a desperation game just to get something done, just to achieve a goal. That desperation creates very bad behaviors on your part. So you need help to create a more clear vision of the long game of where you want to go. That's what a coach and trainer can help you with. Do it all day, every day. And why do you need that help? Because you're clueless. I'll give you an example. I once had a sales manager come to me that he was about to announce some incentives for the team's new product sales, knowing full well that he and I had this conversation before. And so I looked at him and I said, why are you offering this incentive? Why are you running this contest? And of course, he couldn't give me an answer. It's just, that was the tool he had. That was the go-to that he had. He had not developed a new tool. The good news is that motivational science offers some very clear alternatives. They're creating a positive, motivational, foundational, psychological workplace. Fill the psychological needs for your employees. It's the choices they made. It's the connection you have with them. It's the competence that you're looking for out of your team and being able to reward that. These are all required human needs for optimal motivation. And the even better news is you, my friend, can develop these leadership styles to make it happen. If you want to be better, and I'm sure you're listening to this podcast because you want to get better at this. You have some level of doubt or lack of confidence that you know how to motivate people. Hopefully I've opened some doors for you, but what you're really looking for is a happy, engaged, productive workplace, and you are in 100% control of that, but you don't know what you don't know. Just don't know how. And like I said earlier, welcome to the very large club, y'all. And at Results Leadership, we can provide you, or if it's not us, go find somebody else. If you're a business owner, you're an executive, if you're an individual, if you're a business owner that has managers struggling with these issues, we can help you with that. Or please go invest in their development. It's going to make you so much happier, successful, profitable. If you're an executive that has managers, that one or two that are struggling with this, not your entire team, let's get them trained. They don't know what they don't know. Let's fill in those knowledge gaps. Anybody can learn to do this if they're willing to commit to it. We need to provide them with the skills, tools, and knowledge that drives a happy, self-motivated workforce. So contact us if you want to learn more about what we do at rdltraining.com, Romeo Delta Lima training.com. Let's talk about your challenges. And I'm betting you we can help you turn some lights on and find your way. So the best answer to all this is you. If you want to motivate people, if you want to motivate a team, the power is in your hands. Now that I believe I've made it clear, you can't want it more than they do. But you can create the environment that fosters motivation. You can shape their motivational outlook through your leadership and simple steps that you just don't know how to do. And your role as a leader is 100% crucial to that. And by making these changes, the likelihood of higher levels of success, less frustration, less hours worked, less firefighting is almost guaranteed. So stop relying on carrots and sticks, short term. You need to get into the long game and start creating an environment. And it's hard work. It's hard work. It's commitment, but nothing good in my life. And I challenge you to talk to anybody that's ever been successful at anything. They can't tell you that everything good comes with a level of discomfort and hard work, but it's temporary. It's temporary discomfort. It's temporary hard work, because once you create the inertia and get committed to it, pretty soon it starts just rolling along. It becomes easier and easier. And let me strongly suggest one more time that if you're struggling with any of these things we talked about today and would like to find a better path, please take the free DISC assessment and discover your communication style and leadership style. Take you all 15 minutes, then we can get on the phone with you, get on a Zoom call with you, and we can walk you through that assessment for free. And we can help you with your challenges, help you with the perceptions that others have or your own self-perception. You can learn what you're naturally doing wrong. Most importantly, what you can adapt to be much more effective, be much more inspirational. So click on the link in the show notes and take advantage of it. I'll wrap it up now. Thanks so much for listening today. I look forward to hearing from you. Please subscribe to the show, to the podcast. Follow us, share us. That helps us get better exposure to other emerging leaders just like you. Helps me find more listeners, and I'd appreciate that. If you just click on that button and share it with somebody else, or certainly follow us. It helps us with the algorithms. I'll talk to you all next week. And as always, keep up the good work and let us know how we can help.